So the number one pick in the 2017 NBA draft, Markelle Fultz, is now out indefinitely again with a shoulder injury. An injury he's pretty much had since coming into the NBA, and an injury that a lot of people think is mental as much as anything, just due to the fact that his shot form has changed so often, and he's just done some crazy things on the court. And the more this saga with Markelle Fultz goes on, the more people kind of forget how good a player he was seen as coming into the draft. And obviously because the pick that they traded with Boston Celtics was used to take Jason Tatum, people are seeing this as one of the worst trades of all time. In this video, I'm going to have a look back at Markelle Fultz before the NBA draft, why he went number one, and this is how good was Markelle Fultz actually. So before we get into the video, we are doing a daily December right now. We're uploading a video every single day in December. This is now our 4th video, which is absolutely crazy, considering the fact that it took like 7 months to upload 4 videos before this. But also, if you guys like basketball content, subscribe. We're trying to hit 70,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and right now it's looking like we're going to be very, very close to doing that. And also, before we get onto the video, I'd just like to thank Athletic Cases for sponsoring the video. With the whole copyright system on basketball videos, getting sponsorship is obviously a way of me keeping this as my job, so big thank you to them.
Stepping up to the couch, it's Brian, who led the league last season in cracked screens. But with his new athletic case, it looks like that won't be the case. Touchdown, Brian!
But anyway, now we're going to get onto the video. So Markelle Fultz was the number one pick in the NBA draft in 2017. And to be honest, he was the consensus number one overall pick. Obviously, there was Lonzo Ball, who some people thought should have gone number one or could have gone number one. In hindsight, probably Donovan Mitchell or Jason Tatum should have gone number one, but hindsight's 2020. So Markelle Fultz, not everyone knew he was going number one, and the Philadelphia 76ers actually traded up from the 3rd pick in the NBA draft, the pick that was eventually used on Jason Tatum. They traded up to the number one overall pick to draft Markelle Fultz because they felt that Fultz was the perfect player to finish the process. And if Markelle Fultz became the player that he was expected to be, he would have been the perfect player to finish the process. Fultz was a 6'5" combo guard with a 6'10" wingspan, so he had elite length for the point guard position. And he was also equally as good at playing off the ball, maybe even better off the ball. And that was huge because the Philadelphia 76ers obviously had Ben Simmons, who was going to be their primary ball handler. As Coach Nick from BBALL Breakdown said, Fultz was the most polished freshman he'd ever seen. Fultz was extremely crafty getting to the basket. While he didn't have absolutely elite top speed, going in transition, he wasn't going to be the fastest player in the NBA. He had an unbelievably quick first step, and he was also so crafty, a bit like James Harden. This is why a lot of people compared him to James Harden before he came into the NBA, just because he seemed to be able to be slower than everyone else. He seemed to be able to walk by people getting to the basket, and he played the game at his own pace. Even with that though, Markelle Fultz was still an elite athlete, just obviously not Westbrook level athlete. He was also long, had big hands, and they thought he had the potential to be a great defensive player. While he was a solid defensive player in college, he did switch off a little bit at times, so he wasn't going to be seen as a lockdown defender, but at the same time, his defense wasn't seen as much of a red flag as Lonzo Ball's defense, and turns out Lonzo Ball has become one of the best defensive guards in the NBA. Fultz was also seen as a great shooter, which, as surprising as it sounds now, he can't hit a jump shot. Fultz was drafted as a guy who could play off the ball, come off screens, and hit jumpers at a high rate. He shot 41% from college, and a lot of those threes were high degree of difficulty threes. When he was in catch and shoot situations in college, he shot the ball very, very well. He also had quite a quick release, and his release also allowed him to shoot from NBA range. He was pulling up from way, way out in college, and I wish I could show clips, but obviously for copyright reasons I can't. But it's not that hard to find video of Markelle Fultz just dominating in college. There was nothing that Markelle Fultz couldn't do on offense. He could pull up on people. He could finish unbelievably well with both hands. His first step was incredible. His change of speed and change of directions was great. If people switched on ball screens, he was able to completely abuse a mismatch with a big guy on him, which would have been huge for the NBA. So looking back on it, and I'm even watching some scouting videos, a lot of videos people would have made on him when he was in college, watching clips of him playing college, he was the real deal. Markelle Fultz had the potential to be a superstar in the NBA. And also the biggest thing about Fultz was that he was a late bloomer. Markelle Fultz didn't play varsity until his junior year of high school. He was known as one of the hardest workers around, and with that attitude, he was seen as a player who would continue to develop and get better year after year after year in the NBA. And I've gone through this whole video without even mentioning Markelle Fultz passing. He had a better assist to turnover percentage than Lonzo Ball in college, and Lonzo was seen as the best passer around coming into the NBA. Fultz was seen as a guy who would fit in seamlessly with the likes of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid because of his ability to space the floor, because of his ability to play on or off the ball, his ability to score the ball, and also his ability to pass. However, 18 months later, Markelle Fultz is a guy who's lost all trade value, who, regardless of how many injuries he supposedly had, people are convinced he's got the yips, and a guy who no one knows if he'll ever be an NBA starter level player, and a guy who may never be able to shoot a jump shot. So Markelle Fultz was basically seen as a guy with zero bust potential. He was seen as one of the most NBA-ready freshmen in years, probably the most polished player in the 2017 draft, and he was seen as a guy who'd come in straight away and make a major impact for the Philadelphia 76ers. And now the only thing people are talking about Markelle Fultz is whether his crazy shooting form is due to a shoulder injury or whether it's something mental, which is really, really sad to see. So anyway, yeah, that's the video. I honestly wanted just to make this video because I've seen so much everywhere. People saying that the Philadelphia 76ers made a terrible decision. Inside, obviously they did, but nobody predicted Fultz to be like this. Everyone expected Fultz to be a star in the NBA. And honestly, it shows that you can't put too much faith in a guy who's 18, 19 years old because anything can happen. And whether Markelle Fultz's crazy shooting is due to an injury or it's due to a mental problem, hopefully sooner rather than later that's fixed and he becomes a solid NBA player. Because at the time of the draft, Markelle Fultz was honestly looking like he was going to be the next James Harden. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.